Okay, let's talk about what might literally be the most dangerous 30 seconds of your entire day. We're diving into a hidden morning threat, a completely ordinary routine that actually dramatically increases the risk of a fatal cardiac event for adults over 60. And the craziest part, it's something you probably do before your feet even touch the floor. But don't worry, we're also going to walk through a completely free, highly effective protocol to protect yourself. Take a look at this staggering number. Studies from the American Heart Journal show that heart attacks are 40% more likely to happen between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. than at literally any other time of day. I mean, 40%. That is not just some random coincidence. It's actually driven by our own biology, and it's triggered by a super common habit you probably do every single day without even thinking about it. To figure out why this morning window is so incredibly dangerous, we really need to look at what's going on inside your body before you even open your eyes.
So let's break down the biology of waking up. While you're asleep, your body is essentially in low-power mode, right? Your heart rate slows down, blood pressure drops, the nervous system gets nice and quiet. Honestly, it's the only real rest your heart gets. But, and here's the catch, a full hour before you're even conscious, your body starts flooding your bloodstream with stress hormones. We're talking cortisol and adrenaline. By the time that alarm rings at 0 seconds, you've got a massive hormone surge happening. Your heart rate jumps, blood pressure spikes, vessels constrict, all at the exact same time. And then, under 3 seconds later, you stand up?
Now, why is this hormonal surge so deadly? Well, it really comes down to age. Think back to when you were 35. Your cardiovascular system was like a set of flexible rubber bands. It handled that morning pressure surge instantly. No sweat. But for adults over 60, the physical reality is just different. Arteries get stiffer, and your body's response time to pressure changes really slows down. Plus, a lot of folks who feel perfectly healthy have this silent plaque built up inside their vessels. When that huge hormonal wave slams into a stiff vessel wall that has vulnerable plaque, well, the sheer force can actually crack it. And a cracked plaque triggers a clot, which can lead straight to a heart attack or a stroke.
But the danger really compounds the exact moment you get out of bed. Think about it. When you stand up quickly, gravity instantly yanks a huge volume of your blood straight down to your legs and abdomen. In older adults, that natural reflex to tighten up vessels and maintain pressure, it's delayed. This causes a sudden, steep drop in blood pressure. We're talking 15 to 30 points in a matter of seconds. Medically, this is called orthostatic hypotension. You probably just know it as that gray, dizzy, kind of foggy feeling you get when you stand up too fast. Because your pressure just tanked, your already stressed, aging heart shifts into overdrive, aggressively spiking its rate to pump blood back to your brain. It is a massive strain on the system.
Now imagine what happens when thick, sludgy blood struggles to push through those stiff, stressed-out pipes. See, there's a second biological reality happening in the morning. You are severely dehydrated. You've been breathing, sweating, and losing moisture for 7 or 8 hours without a single drop of water. By the time that alarm goes off, your blood is measurably thicker. And thicker blood forces your heart, the pump in this scenario, to work so much harder with every single beat. More importantly, highly viscous blood is incredibly prone to clotting. In fact, research totally backs this up, showing that clotting factors are at their absolute peak activity in those early morning hours.
So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this biological triple threat that arrives at the exact same moment. Basically, you've got a massive spike in stress hormones constricting the vessels, you've got heavily dehydrated, thick blood that's just primed to clot, and you've got stiffened, aging arteries that just can't flex to absorb the impact. It's literally the perfect storm, and all these factors converge right at the split second you wake up.
To put a human face on all this data, let's look at a patient named Douglas. This is a story shared by Dr. Favor Odme. Douglas was a healthy 68-year-old retired school principal. He did everything right, took his blood pressure meds perfectly, walked 5 days a week, had completely clean cardiograms. Yet one totally ordinary Tuesday, he wakes up, turns off his alarm, takes 3 steps toward the bathroom, and collapses on the floor. Everything on his medical chart looked fantastic, but as his doctor pointed out, nobody had ever bothered to ask him about his morning routine.
You see, Douglas made the silent 25-second mistake that, honestly, the vast majority of people over 60 make every single day. His alarm went off, he swung his legs over the side of the bed, and boom, he was totally vertical in under 3 seconds. It feels completely normal, right? But it is profoundly dangerous. By standing up immediately, he aggressively tipped his hormonally stressed, super dehydrated heart right over the edge, forcing it to wildly overcompensate for that sudden drop in blood pressure.
Okay, but here is the really incredible news. You don't need some expensive new prescription or fancy equipment to fix this.
A major study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that one simple, completely free protective habit can reduce early morning cardiac events by up to 62% in older adults. Let me just repeat that. A 62% reduction in risk. And you get that just by changing how you spend the very first minute and a half of your day.
The solution is what cardiologists are calling the 90-second heart protocol. This is a highly specific, totally free sequence that literally shields your heart before the demands of the day even start. It breaks down into 3 super simple steps that actively counteract that hormonal surge, hydrate your blood, and safely regulate your blood pressure. Let's walk through it.
Step 1 kicks in the exact moment your alarm goes off. Do not move. Seriously, stay exactly where you are, lying down. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth. This whole thing takes maybe 15 seconds. This really simple act of deliberate breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the calming branch of your nervous system, and it measurably counteracts that massive cortisol and adrenaline surge right before it reaches its peak.
Now, step 2 is arguably the most vital. Drink a full glass of room temperature water before your feet ever touch the floor. I highly recommend keeping a glass right on your nightstand every single night. Drinking this water immediately starts thinning out that highly viscous, dehydrated blood we talked about. This gives your cardiovascular system much better fluid to pump, which fundamentally reduces the friction in your vessels and drastically lowers your risk of those early morning blood clots.
Finally, step 3 is all about managing gravity. Roll over to your side slowly, push yourself up, and just sit on the edge of the bed with your feet hanging off. Don't rush this. While you're sitting there, rotate your ankles in slow circles, 5 times one way, 5 times the other. This specific movement wakes up your calf muscles, which basically act as a secondary pump to push that pooled blood right back up towards your heart. Sit there for a full 30 seconds so your blood pressure can stabilize. Then stand up slowly and just stand completely still for 10 seconds before you take your very first step.
Now, I need to give a brief but absolutely critical warning for anyone out there who's currently taking a diuretic or a water pill for their blood pressure. Diuretics are super common, and they're great at flushing excess fluid from the body through the kidneys. But here's the thing, when your kidneys flush that fluid, they also flush out magnesium. And magnesium is literally the critical mineral that regulates the electrical signals controlling your heartbeat.
So, when your magnesium levels drop quietly, which honestly happens in a huge number of people on long-term diuretics, your heart can become electrically unstable. This can lead to palpitations and arrhythmias, and it tends to hit hardest in the morning when your heart is already under maximum hormonal stress. If you take a diuretic, you really should ask your doctor for a quick 2-minute magnesium blood test at your next appointment. It's a tiny little step, but it provides genuinely vital information for keeping your heart stable.
Getting back to our patient Douglas, his doctor had him start using this exact protocol: a glass of water on the nightstand, 3 deep breaths, and sitting before standing. Well, 6 months later, at his follow-up, his wife reported that his morning blood pressure readings had totally stabilized. That morning dizziness he used to feel, the stuff he just assumed was a normal part of getting older, completely vanished. His only question to his doctor was, why didn't anyone tell me this sooner? And it's a profound question about a life-saving routine that costs absolutely nothing.
The early morning is undeniably the most dangerous window for an aging heart, but the good news is you have the power to completely change the mechanics of it in just a minute and a half. So please, put a glass of water on your nightstand tonight and share this explainer with someone you love before they wake up and make that 25-second mistake. You control the first 90 seconds of your day. So what's it going to be? Are you going to let them be your most dangerous or your most protected?